Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the HoSkar Night HCMC and Real Estate Seminar section. Thank you everyone for joining this very special edition of the HoSkar Night. And to understand more about the program, the topic, and the theme today, I would like to introduce and welcome Mauro, the founder of WeHub, to share with us a brief introduction. Please welcome.
Mauro is still changing. Doesn't work. You work? Nyung, you beat yeah, we need to work on your timing, yeah? Hello, everybody. I hope it's working.
Please welcome Mauro Gasparotti.
It's fine. Thank you. Thank you. I hope I look good, yeah, even in this case. So welcome everybody to the HoSkar Night. Actually, welcome to the HoSkar Seminar. This is kind of a separate section, a little bit more intimate for a developer only. And usually in our seminar, if my pointer works, we try to answer a specific question in the next 2 hours, which is what's next. So we look into a bit of industry trend, we look into a bit of performance of the market. We invite some of the key speakers from overseas and here to really answer what is next for the real estate industry. Now, usually in our big event, the MTE, we talk about in real estate all the different type of sector, looking retail, commercial, all the different sector. In the HoSkar, we tend to focus on the hospitality market. And why it's good to focus on hospitality, and it's easy, because hospitality really open up to a lot of topic to be discussed. A lot of type of different hotel, lot of type of cross-industry business we can think with the hospitality market. For example, last year in Hanoi, in Hilton here in Saigon, we talk about the 3-star limited service market. So we look into the skinny guy and how can they do in this market condition. This time we'll bring you hostel and we'll bring you lifestyle discussion for this seminar. Now we were looking into the F&B part in our HoSkar Manila. This time with TK and Royd, we look into the fun part of the F&B, the rooftop. Element that is always with us in all our seminar is the brandy residence and ultra luxury market. So that's something we do sometimes specific seminar on that, and this time we also bring it as a topic. So really lot of different topic within the industry. As you know, we try to be positive, we try to have a good vibe for the whole discussion. We try to see where the market will come and grow in the next few years. And we really want to be positive on that. We want to be positive, but we don't have the music for it. Let's just go along with that. So, we have a great event for you today. There will be 2 hours of seminar discussion. We have a very good agenda, and after I want you to all move to the ballroom where we have our usually HoSkar Night networking. So there are a lot of you as network already here. We all enjoy that part. Later we'll be doing that with some drinks as well, which kind of make it a little bit more funny. So today we'll have 4 keynote speakers. We look into brandy residence, lifestyle hotel, we look into market condition and hostel industry. After that, I will be moderating our rooftop and F&B panel, and then I will finish by presenting you a very nice developer panel with some of the best in the industry, talking about hospitality, but also real estate. So stay with us 2 hours. We are waiting more people to join, and I really hope to see you later for the most fun part, which is the drinks. Jung, over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mauro. So today, because of a very special edition of the HoSkar Night, and we got inspired by our co-host partner, we have the water as a theme, and there will be a lot more activities later on at the networking part, for example, the fashion show, the performance, featuring this water theme. So please stay with us until the night. And in order for us to do new things and to bring more and more activities to the market, we would like to say thank you to our sponsor and partner, because without them we cannot do this big events. So firstly, I would like to thank you, KOHLER, KOHLER Botox, for co-hosting the seminar. I would like to say thank you, Radisson Hotel Group, Savills Hotels, HSBC Premium, as well as our new partner, Decor and Mad Monkeys, all of the distribution partner, meta partner for supporting us. Thank you so much. And for that, I would like to introduce and welcome Mr. Ishan, General Director of KOHLER Vietnam and the Philippines, to share with us a few words.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I don't want to keep more time, and I'm sure you want to hear the speakers. So firstly, thank you, Mario and the WeHub team, the excellent team that pulls this off together. It's a pleasure to be part of this evening, and it's really a pleasure to get the hospitality champions together in real estate and operators. We at KOHLER, we really have been championing innovation, design, and most importantly, the customer experience. And we look forward to these kind of seminars where we get these bold ideas to make us what we are. So thank you all. I hope you have a very great evening and look forward to all the seminars and the talks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishan. And now let's start the program. I would like to invite Valencia. Are you here? We will talk about hotel performance, so with the latest news, latest data, and that would be the foundation for all the panel discussion at the later part. Please welcome Valencia from STR Costa.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Xin chào, good evening. My name is Val. I'm from CoStar, or STR, who most of you are probably more familiar with. And thank you, Mauro and the team again for having myself here today. So when you see STR, you probably know what's going on in the next couple of minutes where I'll be sharing some of the data insights. So I do have a question that I particularly want to ask. Who actually flies in from overseas for this trip? Oh, that's a good one. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to share some numbers, in particularly what you will be seeing in the next slide there. So the story for what I'm going to share is a tale of growth. So needless to say, for those arriving, through overseas and into Vietnam, you have seen how the immigration was, right? So it took me about 2 hours for me to exit the queue. Yeah. So I told my boss I probably need the APAC card. Right. So I'm going to share some Southeast Asia market updates before diving into Vietnam itself. So starting off with a general overview of Southeast Asia performance, I like to describe this as a tale of two worlds. Basically, it's a story of contrast. If you still remember what happened during COVID period, post-COVID, so Singapore and Thailand were the earlier ones when it comes to post-COVID recovery, right? So their demand was surging, so their performance was, going very high. But for this year itself, we have started to see a minimal growth, so a softening performance for Thailand and Singapore. Whereas for Vietnam, we are seeing this is they are later in the recovery basically, but what we are seeing in terms of occupancy and rates growth is doing pretty well as compared to its peers there. So because of tourist arrivals, there's the strong demand coming to the country, but on the other hand, there's also the supply from the supply of hotels. So the demand itself is trending upwards because we are seeing more of the demand that's coming up into the country, whereas for supply, it's pretty much flat there. Not saying there isn't any supply growth, there is still. But of course, when it comes to this chart that we are seeing, that's why occupancy and ADR growth has actually shown a positive growth for overall country. But of course, that question is how much can rates go further, right? Because there's always a limit when it comes to rates increasing. And the same thing for demand. So do we see that softening of demand there? Yes, there is. It's a normalization of growth, especially in a particular the last couple of months that we are seeing. And this does not apply just for Vietnam itself. We are also seeing the same for Thailand, for Malaysia too, where the tourist arrivals are dropping. Despite it's doing better than the last couple of years, tourist arrivals for Vietnam, it's decreasing, especially also in the last couple of months that we are seeing. So that question also leads to, in the next slide, particularly on occupancy and ADR trends comparing with the neighboring countries. So in terms of occupancy-wise for Vietnam, it's still a laggard in terms of performance as compared to the peers there, but rates itself has actually surpassed 2019 numbers. So Singapore is the highest with regards to rates, but if you do note on the performance for the last couple of months, it has started to normalize. So not much of a changes in terms of ADR rates there. Yep. And particularly in terms of Vietnam performance, the growth, I would say that in terms of the absolute performance, cities are still the strongest, particularly because of the flights accessibility, right? So Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City are sitting on the top of the chart, whereas for the resorts, they are more rather seeing more of the growth there. So Da Nang, Nha Trang, Cam Ranh, and Phu Quoc are the ones that we are seeing a strong occupancy growth that actually leads to a stronger performance for the country. But nonetheless, when we compare with performance with the other resort destinations or leisure destinations, of course, needless to say, we are seeing the top few belonging to the resort destinations in Vietnam. Phuket itself and Bali has also seen the softening of performance growth. Yeah, so of course, when we say about these two cities, they have their own characteristics. It's not totally comparable, but just to understand as well in terms of how they are performing, comparing Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. So the interesting chart, when I pulled this, I was just thinking like, this was 2019 numbers where Hanoi was actually performing better than Ho Chi Minh City. But when it comes to demand in the recent months or since 2023, Ho Chi Minh City in terms of Saigon performance has actually surpassed Hanoi, which also leads to this part when we are talking about ADR, when there's more demand, certainly there are hotels that will use that to push the rates. So rates for Saigon area, in terms of growth, you are seeing 2021, 2022, where it has the lowest peak. It has actually took a stronger growth when it comes to ADR performance than Hanoi. Right, and looking at the contribution of classes performance. So this is another interesting chart that we saw. So typically, luxury and upper upscale hotels, which is the higher tier, is always the stronger performing ones than the rest. But when it comes to growth, mid-scale and economy class hotels have actually done better for Hanoi this year. So of course, one thing to note, you might be wondering about the ADR growth. Is it really like that great? Just to highlight that when it comes to class growth, it's due to the ADR. So when the base is low, when the base is low, even $20 to $30, that's about a 50% increase for rates. Whereas on the other hand, when we look at Saigon area, it's pretty much split against the different classes. So they have a fair contribution in terms of rates growth for, or even occupancy growth across the different tiers. And for day of week pattern, not much of a difference that we are seeing in terms of changes there. So this could also tie with the length of stay within the two cities or within the city itself. So when the status stay, where the demand is higher, the same thing apply for rates. It's still the strongest too. Yep. So needless to share or to say this, so in terms of pipeline, we all know that there's a lot of pipeline in Vietnam right now. So constantly there are properties opening, there are also properties being added into the pipeline, where Vietnam right now has the strongest pipeline that's coming up. That's about 60K rooms in total in the next couple of years' time. Then diving into P&L, so everyone, you would probably know, like, when we look at 2021 performance, F&B has the strongest contribution to F&B, right, for rooms revenue, because a lot of hotels have to rely on that to sustain their business. The great thing is that in the last year or the last couple of months, what we are seeing is that rooms performance is also growing. So though compared to 2019, it's just a 1% higher, but we also see that less reliance of F&B because of tourist demand that is coming into the country, so more rooms revenue than F&B itself. Yeah. So on this one, so the story is, so because of that strong performance in terms of revenue, operating expenses or even expenses itself in general is kept to minimal. So total operating expense, we don't see much of a increase as compared to last year there. So overall Vietnam performance in terms of EBITDA and TRevPAR, we are seeing a positive growth. Right, so the summary is for Vietnam, so the growth is there because of the demand is strong, more tourist arrivals coming, but that question also lies with now what we are seeing in terms of normalized growth, right? So less of the 20-30% that what we are seeing in the past. So what we will be checking out is in terms of the competitiveness of hotels within the city, right? Because we saw earlier on within the country itself, or there's hotels that are performing better, like the luxury and upscale hotels. But if that actually applies to the full country or the different markets. And of course, there's also certain pipeline that keeps on adding, considering there are hotels projects that were on hold for the last couple of years. And lastly, in terms of rates, there's also this part whereby how much rates can we actually push further for hotels here. But of course, overall cost control or expenses control plays an important factor when it comes to revenue or overall profit and loss for hotels. Thank you very much. And I do have the deck here if you do want a copy for download purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, Valencia. We will also share the presentation to everyone after the event today. Coming up next, please welcome Carolina from Radisson Hotel Group. She will share with us about lifestyle brand.
Hello, everybody. Is this one? Sure. Where I need to? Okay. I go. Sorry, I don't recognize myself there.
It's too cute.
It's too cute, right? Yeah, it's not me. Okay. So let's take a deep breath. Right now, there is no notes. Just be yourself, relax, enjoy, and look what is going to be. Sorry, I'm not really used to this. How it's going? It's not my fault then. Are you relaxed? Yeah? Okay. Oh, no. Okay. Just look. Okay, so in the next, I think I left with 8 minutes. So I'm gonna try to not sell the brand, I promise, pinky promise. But I'm gonna try to let you understand what is RED and why we believe, as Radisson Hotel Group, is the best investment both for our guests and our owners. So first of all, we have 10 unique brands. And where is sitting Radisson RED is on upper upscale and upscale. You can ask me why. Because it depends on the location, depends how much the architect and designer, they're gonna choose your material, how good they're gonna be, and depends on the facilities. So if you want more than one bar, if you want to do a resort, a urban hotel, and if you want a full service or a selected service. So can vary, okay? But in STR, CoStar, our red is considered an upscale. So we are talking about a 4-star brand. So these are the brand pillar. Brand pillar is what we define like, for architects and design and everybody, what are the pillar of the brand, right? So obviously it's a lot of design elements, cool elements that bring the property into life. There are some brands, including us, which are very boring, right? This one instead is very outstanding. It's fun, flexible. You can be yourself. That's why maybe I'm here with Radisson Hotel Group, because I can be myself. And I think this is an important part, of your job, of your leisure, of everything you do in life. And you can connect with people, because you're going to see that there is a lot of space for interaction, business, co-working spaces, etc., etc. So we have seen, and I am actually, I'm old, not that old, but my hair are gray. I'm more towards the 50 than the 30, but I'm looking for fun. I'm looking for a place where, I can connect, a place where I can feel welcome, a place where there is fashion, culture, a hotel that can treat me differently from anybody else, where I can have fun or I can stay cozy in my room, but at least I know there is something buzzing in the air. So this is red. So red doesn't mean it's for any target generation, X, millennial, or whatsoever. Everybody can go there. Depends what you are looking for. And everybody nowadays, what is looking for is experience. Everyone is looking for something new. And that's why we are so successful with the brand. We have also innovate solution. What does it mean? It means that we can turn from day and night the room from a meeting space or a small, cozy, intimate, let's say meeting room into a bed. Where this is happening, especially in UK, where we have hotels in stadium, so people can have meeting during the day, bet maybe for the race, or for any kind of, players or whatever they want, and then, they go to sleep. So we can double our revenue. This is one of the few solutions that we have in place, both for Red and other brands. This is just to let you know that Red is a competitive brand. And when we look at competition, the only measure you need to look is the RGI. So how your hotel is performing compared to others. Here you can see it's random hotels, Europe, Asia. I'm not going to tell you, unfortunately, for confidentiality. But you can see how good they are. So the level is 100. We are way above 100. You can text me anytime later to have more data if you want. So just a bit on the expansion. This is where we are today. We have more than 100 hotels globally. You can see that the pipeline is more than double what is the current in operation. That means the brand works. And where it works more, obviously, is Asia Pacific. So where we are the biggest so far, we are the biggest in the main feeder market, which is China. Here are some examples of how they look, how our designer, or how we invent these brands. So you can look at images, and I will stop to bother you. So you can look at it. This is in India, China, as I told you before. This is Thailand. We just opened this year. Cambodia will come in the next, hopefully, 2 years. My owner are around. If they cannot keep me promised 2027, I will be upset. And New Zealand. New Zealand is in 2 years' time, 1 year time, 2026, let's hope. And we open one of the most successful, actually, property, which the GM just recently won the awards this year for the best open in 2025, which is Radisson Red Da Nang. Who have been there? Just to ask. Okay, you win another day in a suite paid by Radisson Hotel Group. Okay, and just to finish, why Da Nang is doing so well, okay? Just bit of consumer insight. As I told you before, there is no targeting, right? This is Da Nang, so as we see before from CoStar, Da Nang is the number 3 top destination in Vietnam. So from our RED perspective, we have 60% domestic and 40% international. And the top are Korea, China, Taiwan, and Russian and Indian are coming and surging. So that's a great news for everybody. Obviously, Da Nang is amazing for leisure and business, and that's why it's so popular. And we are expecting actually, you know, a great recovery this year. So for the first time, my speaking at the HoSkar Night, I'm positive. So I really want to thank you, everybody, Mauro, the organizer, KOHLER, everybody for having us tonight. And if you have any other question, please, I'm here. Thank you so much.
I have a question for you.
No.
It's not about voucher, no worries. So,
Okay.
so we saw a lot of new hotel coming up for your brand. How about a conversion? And where do you think the RED would be suitable in Vietnam? Mostly in the cities?
Oh my God, I just did the strategy for Vietnam. Okay. Obviously, I see red in Ho Chi Minh. I see red in Hanoi, certain location. I see red, we have it in Da Nang. Some coastal destination, I think, are ready for the lifestyle brands. Nha Trang, maybe, Phu Quoc as well, where they are already, you know, they have majority of any other brand. So I think expanding there will be, you know, fantastic for us. And everything related to anything in Vietnam, Chow is sitting there. So he will be happy to answer to all your questions. But yeah, RED is not for everybody. It's not for any owner that wants to do an hotel. You really need to believe in the brand. So happy to develop everywhere anyway. And conversion is a bit more difficult for me because RED, there is a lot of, let's say, technology involved. So in that terms, if you have a plain hotel, then you need to invest a bit more than a normal brand to reach the level of RED because of connectivity and technology. That's the plus.
Okay, and the second question is how many voucher, how many nights we can have? For
Okay, if
everyone?
someone, well, first one raised, okay, him. Another one. Okay. Hold on. Different rooms, guys, no worries. It's not going to be a twin, okay? I'm not that cheap. I can offer 2 king room, okay? No worries. Okay, 1 and 2.
Okay.
You will be on my top, not on Radisson Hotel Group, so please be gentle, okay?
Okay.
Any other question I'm happy to answer? Yes. 3? I know you.
Oh,
You go with him. Twin.
okay, thank you, Carolina. We can talk more with her later on at the networking part. I'm sure when she drunk, she can get a
Oh,
lot
I'm
more
sorry.
future.
I'm running
Okay?
marathon. I'm not gonna drink. So good luck. Thanks.
You have no idea, Jung, no idea.
Okay.
You'll seal it.
Thank you. And coming up next is about branded residence. So please welcome on stage Ms. Uyên Nguyen, Associate Director of Savills Hotel in South Asia.
Thank you, Nhung, and thank you, Carolina. So Carolina's presentation was a lot of photo, video, and fun. My one will be a little bit more on the numbers, so I hope you're gonna stay here with me. So today I'm gonna talk about a very trending product in Vietnam recently, branded resident. But what are branded resident? Well, actually, they are the partnership between the developer and the brand. So basically, the developer, they will pay the license fee to the brand to use the brand for the sales and marketing of the resident. And majority of the case is going to be a hotel brand. And the hotel operators, they will also manage the hotel to ensure to the resident to ensure that it reach the quality and achieve the brand standard. So why this product has become very popular recently? Because they have lots of advantage. Well, if you are a developer, and I believe we have a lot of developer in the room today, you're gonna like this model because it can potentially create the price premium. And if you are a hotel or resort developer, adding the branded resident to your mixed-use projects will help you to finance the construction through the pre-sale of the resident. And you also get support from the brand for the design guideline and technical service support. From the brand, obviously, they like this model because they can receive the license fee. They get to expand their brand footprints. However, for the brand, their top priorities is always to protect the brand name. That's why they're not gonna easy to give away the brand. They will always be very selective. It has to be the right products, the right market, the right location, and the right developer. And for the buyer, so owning a luxury branded resident is like owning a trophy asset. You're gonna have a very high quality products with, in terms of fit out, it's also in terms of facility, management service, and of course, the community that you live in as well. So yeah, and for some location, the branded resident can also create the rental return potential. Okay, so at Savills Hotels, we have classified branded resident into 4 types. The first one is co-located, or we also call it mixed-use projects. And this is the most popular type in the market. As you can see on the screen, we have the very iconic projects in the heart of Bangkok. This is Central Park. So the tower on the right side is the hotel tower. The one in the middle is the branded resident component, and the one on the left side is the office tower. And all 3 towers are connected by the retail podium, very well designed, very greenery. Another type, the second type, is the condo hotel when they are located within the same building. So this is a little bit more complicated. Like this one on the photo is the Nobu projects in Da Nang, a project that we advised a few years ago. Especially for projects with very limited land area, limited footprint and GFA. So you have to be very careful when you design and planning for your facility. You need to identify who is your target buyer. Are you going to offer the rental program? And that will impact your planning of the facility, of the entrance and the circulation as well. And then moving to the third type is a standalone branded resident. So this is very new in Vietnam, and actually just only one completed project, which is the Ritz-Carlton in Hanoi. So why this is also very complicated, because unlike the other where you have the hotel or resort component, so the hotel, they can provide the staff, the service to the resident, but here you only have the resident. So you need to, plan for the facility, you need to plan for the staff, for the service that you're going to provide to the resident, and all of these operating costs will be reflected into your monthly management fee that you're going to charge to the buyers. And that's why this model usually is only applied for the luxury positioning. And the last type is the non-hotelier brand. This is also already appear in Vietnam market. Okay, so branded resident is not only a trending product in Vietnam, but actually it is growing globally. You can see that by 2030, we expect to have like 1,500 projects globally with more than 200 brands across more than 100 countries. And right now in Asia, which is the red part of the chart, we are only account for 23% of the global supply. However, we have a very significant growth of 330%. Now let's talk about the brand. Of course, the brand is very important because that helps to create the price premium for your projects. So you can see globally, Ritz-Carlton is the most active brand with nearly 90 projects. And at second place, we have Four Seasons. And these two brands, you can see that their gap are significant compared to the other brands. So in the next few years, we believe that they're gonna be still the top two brand. In terms of management company, of course, Marriott is still at the number one. And second place, we have Accor, because these two hotel operators, they have a lot of brand, especially in the high end and the luxury, to offer for developer. So that's why it's not a surprise to see them there. And how about Asia? If we're looking closely at Asia, you're gonna see that Vietnam and Thailand are the top two countries in terms of branded residence supplies. And for the branding dynamic, it's gonna be a bit different than the global. You can see that Intercontinental is the top brand in the market because they have been here for a long time. They have few, big developer as their strategic partners. And we have Melia. Melia, thanks to the success of Melia Hotel, they have successfully secured few more deals here in Vietnam. And number 3, we have Ansana. And for the management company, IHG is number 1. And number 2, follow closely, we have Marriott. But actually Marriott, they have a lot of projects under discussion now. So I'm not gonna be surprised if next year they become the number 1. And so apart from the hotel brand, we also have a lot of other non-hotel brands trying to get the market share. So you have a lot of options here for developer. We have the celebrity brand, we have the fashion brand, the jewelry brand. We even have the brand of the US president. And actually it has already came to Vietnam. So this brand is not just for branded resident, it's also for hotel, resort, cafe, restaurant, entertainment, and golf course as well. But what's different is that these brands, they usually cater to, let's say, a smaller portfolio of buyers and a more niche market. And majority of the case, they don't have the management company. So if you want to work with this brand, maybe you need to work with a third-party asset management company to provide service to your resident. Now, segmentation. Usually, globally, branded resident will be more on the luxury and high-end, ultra-luxury. However, in Vietnam, it's a bit different. So we have only this luxury and the ultra-luxury segment only account for 33% of the market share, and the rest are the upper upscale and below. However, in the next 3 years, it's going to be changed. As you can see in the pipeline, we're going to see more and more luxury and ultra-luxury products coming to the market. Okay, now let's talk about rental program. So 83% projects in Vietnam, they will offer a rental program. And the reason is because the first branded resident projects were developed in the coastal areas. And until today, majority of the supply are still in the coastal areas. While majority of our buyers, they come from big cities like Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi, and they cannot come to stay at the villas or the condo for every day or every week. That's why they're gonna prefer a rental program to utilize their unit to generate the rental returns. And among these projects, 65% of them offer the optional rental program. So if we look back 7 or 8 years ago, I would say majority of the projects would offer the compulsory rental program. And actually, this is more easy to execute and also much more simpler because the rental program is actually a very useful tool for developer to gain control of the projects for the operations. But now, as we're moving to more high-end, more luxury projects, and the buyers, they don't use the branded resident as simply an investment asset. Now they also see it at the primary home, at the second home, and they would like to use it for themselves. That's why right now I think majority of the developer and the hotel operators, they will offer the optional program. And the most important questions I think for the developer is that does the brand actually deliver the brand premium? And at several hotels, we track the pricing of all the projects every year. And the answer is actually yes. Globally, on average, a branded resident projects can, achieve, let's say, 30% higher price than a normal resident. But in Asia, the gap is smaller, only 21%, because in Asia, we have more projects under the upper upscale and below segment. Also because the average scale of a projects in Asia is, let's say, much larger scale than the average global. And we have also put together the most expensive projects, in some key markets to do the price comparison across the region. So on the screen, you're gonna have the Porches Design Tower Bangkok. So this is the most expensive projects right now in the market. In Bangkok, it's very exclusive. You can see that the whole tower, but only 22 units. And then in Manila, we have the Grand Hyatt Manila. In Tokyo, we have Aman Residence. In Ho Chi Minh City, of course, the JW Marriott, and in Hanoi, the Ritz-Carlton. Both of them are developed by Masterise Group. And yeah, as you can see on the chart, we are actually on a very high side, and our price could be similar to those in Bangkok, a place where branded residence have been developed much earlier. But looking at the broader context of Asia, we're still far behind those developed markets like Tokyo. But in the last few months, there have been a lot of projects launched to the market, and we can expect many more projects coming up in the next few months. So yeah, let's see and wait to see if they're gonna be new projects with the price that, surprise all of us. And that's the last part of my presentation. If you have any question about branded residence, or if you're planning a hotel and resort projects, I will just be around. And all the questions today will not be charged consulting fee, so I hope to see you again later at the HoSkar Night.
Thank you, Uyên. So Uyên and Mauro has been advising a lot of branded resident and mixed-use project in Vietnam and South Asia. So if you need any support, I'm sure they can have a meeting with you next week, one-on-one. So for further questions. And coming up next, we will have a new model. It's about hostel business model. So please welcome Alex, co-founder from Mad Monkey, to share with us about this model. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to Mauro and everybody at HoSkars for inviting us on to give our insights to the hostel industry. We'd like to start today by showing a short video, just some of the topics that we're going to be covering today. So, hostels can repurpose budget hotels, office blocks, and rundown properties. This 45-room hotel in Bangkok was transformed into a thriving backpacker hub. The conversion was completed in under 2 months, and within 3 weeks, the hostel had reached 100% occupancy with over 150 guests. Not only that, but hostel companies are now designing and building their own purpose-built properties, such as this 220-bed property in the beautiful UNESCO-listed town of Hoi An. Mapping the frontier. Backpackers travel far and wide, often starting in bustling city hubs, moving on to remote islands and undiscovered destinations, paving the way for other hospitality businesses to follow. A great example of that is here on the beautiful island of Indonesia, Gili T on Indonesia. This was another resort that was built from the ground up, holding over 150 guests and is operating at an average occupancy of over 80%. So, moving on to the accommodation. Long gone are the days where hostels are renowned for rundown dormitories. Now we're seeing stylish ocean view rooms, such as we can see here in Uluwatu, trendy teepees in Gili T, and futuristic dorms, such as this one in Japan. So, normally that only contributes around less than 50% of the revenue generated in a property. F&B. Increasingly, backpackers are purposely travelling with their taste buds, actively seeking to immerse themselves in culture via cuisine. As we can see here, hostels are directly addressing this by offering authentic local cultural dishes, as we can see the pad thai here, whilst also providing comfort and tastes of home. Now, I'm not sure how many of you today have uploaded your breakfast or your lunch on TikTok or Instagram. Maybe not, but this is something that we are experiencing all the time in the hostels, which is why now we are elevating our food offering, providing Instagrammable smoothie bowls such as this one, and curated cocktails. Events. Events are more than just a social gathering. They're what bring the hostel community together, driving extra revenue, elevating guest experience, and often leading to extended length of stay. You have no idea how many people go on a pub crawl with the intention to check out the next day, and they stay one more night. Maybe it's the hangover, maybe it's the friends they've met, and then they often maybe adjust their travel plans to then move on to the next destination with their newfounded friends. We have karaoke nights, family dinner, barbecue, beer pong tournaments, musical bingo, and many, many more. But at the heart of it, the guests are seeking adventure through cultural immersion. There is no greater example than the trending Ha Giang Loop Tour, a 4-day motorbike experience winding through the northern mountains of Vietnam while staying at cultural homestays. Or island hopping around the Philippines, or you even take your PADI certification course on the renowned island of Koh Tao. Ultimately, guests are always seeking adventure, looking for that next trending experience and willing to take one step further to find it. And not only that, always willing to invest on the travel budget itself. Amenities. It's not just in the hotels where we're seeing trending facilities on recovery and wellness, but hostels are also leaning into this, providing gyms, steam rooms, saunas, ice baths, just as this hostel is done in Uluwatu in Indonesia. But it doesn't always have to be about recovery. Sometimes it can be the beginning of a night out. And I think somebody mentioned on one of the other hotel conferences a couple of months ago was more time in the spa means more money in the bar. And that is something that is evident here and something that we're witnessing in our properties where we are providing these facilities. Moving on to technology. Hostel guests are also seeking travel perks and loyalty programs. And that is why we are seeing hostel companies also developing their own websites and booking apps and sophisticated loyalty programs. It also is driving more direct bookings. As you can see here, we're achieving 35% of our bookings direct, and that is growing day by day as more and more people sign up to our new loyalty program. And after all, why not? Today's hostel guests are going to be tomorrow's hotel guests. So, to summarize, the hostel model is highly adaptable, highly flexible, highly tailored to the younger generation's fast evolving needs, and it's becoming tech-enabled. How does that translate to commercial results? Well, hostels are consistently achieving ADRs on par with low to mid-range hotels, whilst outperforming them on occupancy rates and also able to convert at a much lower cost. As you can see here, for every $1 spent on accommodation, guests are likely to spend the same, again, or more on F&B and travel and tours. And you might think, how does that affect our profitability? As you can see here, we have a property level GOP of 42% and a global average occupancy rate sitting at 70%. And this is why the hostel industry is now is not just working on leasehold models, but it's starting to branch into hotel-style management agreements and even setting up property funds to buy, develop, and set up our own hostel buildings. With that, we would like to end on CSR, something that's very important to our business. As we all know, it's incredibly important, the impact that we have on our communities, and because we're often going into developing countries, the impact that we make can be profoundly felt. These are just some of the projects that we've worked on with Mad Monkey since we founded in 2011. We've supported over 400 water wells in Cambodia, bike helmets, we funded schools, we do weekly beach cleanups, and most importantly, we also invest into a wellness program for all of the Mad Monkey team members. So yeah, with that, I'd like to finish and say thank you very much for giving us time to give our insight to the hostel industry, and happy to answer any questions either now or in the bar later. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Does anybody have a question for him? We have time for one question before the moderator and the panelists coming up in the room. So I will take that question. So I see that your model have a lot of benefit for the owner, but is that difficult to invest into a hostel? Because like beside the room, I see that there are a lot of F&B activities, tour connection. Is that difficult to really build a successful hostel?
No, I mean, as you could see from the properties I've showed you, Bangkok specifically, this was a budget hotel. We went in and we stripped out all of the rooms. We installed dormitory beds with lockers and lights and, you know, a higher level than what we would have seen in the past. We repurposed the bar and the restaurant using cheap local materials. It's a very low investment relative compared to other hotel groups. Where one hotel might only have 2 people in a room, we will put 6 or 8, and all of those people will then go and spend, as we've seen, just as much money on their F&B and their tour and their travel experience as they will do on the room itself. Therefore, we're yielding much more revenue on a square meter basis than most budget to mid-level hotels.
And I would see it like very suitable for city like Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City. So beside those,
yeah, so we're already in
locations?
Hanoi. We are desperately trying to get into Ho Chi Minh. So if anybody has a property here, please let us know. And yeah, in District 1. But yeah, so we're in Hoi An, Hanoi. We have 24 properties across 7 countries. We expect to grow to 50 over the next 2 to 3 years. And we expect to really expand the hotel management agreement with that as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your insight. We have a lot of owner tonight. Coming up next, we'll talk about F&B, about rooftop model. So I would like to invite on stage TK. He's the co-founder of Skyline Rooftop in Nha Trang. And also Rohit.
You're too tall. I'm not standing next to you. Just sit there. I actually looked at this, and sorry, if you finish an introduction to Rohit, go.
And Rohit is the owner of Above 11 Rooftop Bar in Bangkok. And the moderator is Mauro, Director of Entertainment of WeHub.
Thank you, Nyung. So thank you, everybody. This is, I think, is for me is very important part. I think is not many people talk about the entertainment side of the hospitality. So today I invite you two of what I call the icon of this side of the game. You probably see TK around. He's a low-profile guy, but somehow it's very well known in the industry, and is the owner of Skylight in Nha Trang, and we'll touch it in a moment. Rohit, which I invite him all the way from Thailand, is a friend of mine, and is one of the top owner and operator in Bangkok. Later on, he'll talk about all the different brands that he has. You look into something like Havana, APT 101, Above 11. So we'll talk about all the different. So I want really to get to pick both brain and see how they did it and share it with us. So TK, start with us. We got a few pictures just to set the mood of what you have. That's what we improvised in the last 2 hours. Just to get a bit of, tell us a little bit more about yourself first, but also a little bit on the business itself.
Well, thank you guys for having me here today. My name is TK. I am the co-founder and vibe director of Skylight New Jack. So Skylight is actually on top of the Havana Hotel on Fu Street, which is the iconic street in Nha Trang. So what we built here is originally when we came to Vietnam, my goal was to create a destination, basically bring the beach vibes to the rooftop. During that time, 10 years ago, in about 2014, when we were scouting for locations, in Nha Trang there was only Sailing Club. So how many of you guys have been to Sailing Club? It's an iconic location. It's been around for 30 years. How many of you guys have been to Skylight? Yes, thank you, thank you. How many of you guys were really drunk at Skylight, don't remember, and you ended up at one of the hostel bars or the hotels? Okay, at least you're honest. Thank you, I appreciate that. So here, what we wanted to create was just not a place where you to come up and have a drink or have food and things like that, but we wanted to create an experience. And I know experience is a word that's really thrown out a lot, especially in the last several years. So for us, you'll see on top, this is a 360 sky deck. So this has become more than just a bar, more than a sky bar. It was actually a destination where we work with tour groups to bring tours and people up to Skylight to see the view. So you're getting a chance to see this beautiful city, the mountains, the beach, and just the overall from this 45th floor here. So from there, we wanted to transition it into a fun nightclub atmosphere. So we've been able to accomplish that and create, our goal is to create memories. So people are coming up here and they're celebrating, the locals, it's more about celebrating like birthdays, anniversaries, or weddings. But we get a lot of tourists. I would say 80% of our guests on any given night is going to be a tourist coming to Nha Trang. So Nha Trang is pretty much a tourist destination. So we've been very fortunate to be on top of the Havana Hotel where there's 1,000 rooms right below us. So that's a great funnel for us. And we also act as a kind of a unique selling point for Havana to provide something different for their guests, right? So opposed to just coming to a hotel, just your standard hotel, it could be something that's different, where you can stay your room here, go upstairs, have some fun, and then stumble back down a little drunk.
Thank you, DK. And just to keep on you 1 second, actually, let me just switch to Roy and then I'll come back, because I got a good question for you. Roy, we got also a few slides of some of your iconic building. Give us your, before you actually, and we enter into above 11, APT 101 is your latest one. What's the vibe here and the actually, I understand that, yes, what's the vibe here and the actually idea?
Thanks for having me here. So the one thing we learned, APT 101 came about from what we learned after COVID. After COVID, we learned that we needed to create hybrid spaces. We needed to create spaces for adaptability, and we needed to make sure we could drive yield at all hours of our real estate assets. And APT 101 is a game changer. It's inspired by Roy Halston, the famous fashion designer in the 1970s. When Studio 54 shut, they would go to Roy Halston's apartment to party. His apartment was called the 101. So I created this entire space inspired by Roy Halston's life, and and it really looks like a penthouse. You come in, you ring the doorbell, you open, you go into the foyer, and then there's 3 rooms. It's 800 square meters. But the game changer of this place is that it has the potential to make money from 9 a.m. till 2 a.m. So the plan is, and we haven't fully opened this out, we brought a satellite kitchen in there. You can order food from 8 of our restaurants, from any of your events, from an event perspective. We created the AV such that you can plug and play your AV into any of the different rooms, from presentations to mics. We spent a fortune on the AV. And so the idea is from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., we're launching it as a breakfast, brunch, co-working space. And then from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., you move to page 7, which is our cocktail bar that's opening on August 27th. You're going to come there for an amazing cocktail experience. If you come to Bangkok after August 25th, you're going to come and see a game-changing experience in our cocktail. And then from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m., it's one of Bangkok's top nightclubs. Now, the nightclub part is already going on. We just did a trial run for the breakfast and co-working. We had a collaboration with Bartels, one of the top all-day brands. We had 270 people there eating breakfast, avo toast, and all of this stuff. And it's a game changer because it's going to be the first hybrid space that is everyone for everything. And the thing is, the Gen Zs are not drinking anymore. And they're going to more about community. And so what we do is from 9 to 6, it's about community. From 6 to 9, it's about cocktails. And then from 9 to 12, and we have 3 different Instagram accounts for the same place. And it's going to be Soho Hospitality's top revenue generating, in the next 6 to 9 months.
When did you open?
I opened in October 31st, 2024. I had a guy, an influencer, who came and did a video on the storytelling of this penthouse. It got 8.6 million views. It was the most views this influencer had ever gotten. It got 189,000 shares. And it's the fastest growing Instagram site of all of our restaurants. We have 18,000 followers in 7 months. And you can ask people how difficult it is to get followers on Instagram. 18,000 followers, 18,500 now followers in 6 to 7 months.
Thank you. I'm going later to ask you Havana and the rest, but I want to go back to TK because you guys just celebrate 10 years anniversary last week. Yes. So congratulations for that. Was a ride. My question is it more difficult now, the business, than it was 10 years ago for Nia Chang? Do you find more challenging?
Definitely more challenging just because this competition is just so much more competitive in these markets, especially after COVID. So for us, we came to Nia Chang in 2014, and at that time, like I mentioned, there was only Sailing Club, and there was just like some of your typical kind of Vietnamese style Vienna house nightclubs and stuff. So for us, we wanted to bring a different experience to the rooftop, where some of the sky bars that we were used to seeing around, especially here in Ho Chi Minh, we have Chill Sky Bar, which is an iconic location, but that's definitely more luxury and flashy. But we wanted to do something that was, because we're at the beach, we want people to come up and feel comfortable. Some people are coming up dressed to the nines in heels. Some people are coming up and in jeans or in shorts and things like that. And it's still okay. So I think the beauty of what we've been able to build, because it's in a beach town, is something that is a little bit for everybody. We are more of a kind of like a tourist destination now, where people are coming up. You have all types of people coming from different generations and stuff. So going back to your question, I would say that it is more difficult now. Back then, 10 years ago, it was kind of a blank canvas. We were able to kind of make some mistakes and learn along the way, but now the market is so competitive. So we've been looking at to do things in Ho Chi Minh City, but like I said, it's a lot of competition. And I find that some of these more tourist-driven markets are a little bit more forgiving, and it's a little bit easier because you're dealing with tourists who are like I mentioned, 80% of our guests are like first-time tourists. So for them, they're just here to have a good time. So their expectations aren't as crazy. Or sometimes when you're dealing with locals, especially in Ho Chi Minh, where we're used to really nice, sophisticated, fine dining and things like that, the demands and expectations are a bit higher. So I think now it's a little bit more tougher. But there's always, I think, an opportunity somewhere in there.
Thank you. Roy, do you deal with tourists, or you have a good base of Thai business that keep you going no matter what?
So I opened Above 11 in March of 2012. I'm now 12 years old. The Above 11 is 12 years old. We've opened it in 3 other locations around the world. We've opened it in Marriott Palm Jumeirah in Dubai. We've opened it in Phnom Penh with Decor, and we are opening it in Sri Lanka at the Galadari Hotel, which would rebrand as a Radisson. 4 locations worldwide. Above 11 is, the thing about rooftop bars is that everyone who comes to a metropolitan city wants to go on top. So rooftop bars traditionally are very much tourist-centric. I can say that earlier on in our lifeline, we were more, we had expats, Thais, and tourists. But today, it's predominantly tourist-driven. We're on all the, my friends have told me it's also, Above 11 is on the, travel itineraries of the, Germans. It's on their travel guides. It's in Lonely Planet, all those travel guides. And today, people are going to ChatGPT to tell them where to go. And we're very lucky that a lot of our places are coming on the AI responses. But it's primarily, I would say it's primarily tourist driven. And also these types of places, you find a more beverage driven mix in terms of revenue mix. You look at, we look at about 60, 65, 35, 60, 40, but more beverage driven. And the numbers we do are incredible. I mean, it's even being around for now in our 13th year, we still do, 300 to 500 people every single day, weather permitting. And it's still one of our top revenue generators.
And when you open, it was meant to be a drink place or a restaurant place, and what kind of food are you going there?
So I was one of the, when I opened Above 11, I was the first Peruvian restaurant in Asia. Nobody even knew what Peruvian food was because I opened in 2012. Today, Peruvian food is one of the hottest cuisines. The #1 restaurant in the restaurants, the best restaurants in the world, is a Japanese restaurant. I even met the chef in Lima, Peru, Maido, and it's a Peruvian Japanese restaurant. And when I opened it, nobody knew what Peruvian food was, and I just would tell everybody that it was the Thai food of Latin America, which is really what it is. In terms of the diversity of the cuisine. And we were the first ones to recognize that this cuisine was really, really, amazing. So in all of my restaurants, whether it's entertainment, dining or not, you will find out that the food is really, at the top level. I mean, we don't compromise on the quality of the food, but we have to understand that as time has evolved, it's before it was like, if the food's not good, I'm not gonna go. Now it's like the food is a given, it's gotta be good, but I want some other X factors. I want entertainment dining, I want this, I want that. I wanna be surprised in a delightful way about some other experiential factors that make the place, and that's how it's changed.
TK, do you guys serve food or mainly getting smashed all the tourists and just happy time?
Yeah, so we're actually known for the rooftop nightclub side. So that is, our alcohol sales is about 70% of our revenue, with ticket sales being 20%. So we're actually independent of the hotel. So people, guests are coming in, you have to buy a ticket to come up, which includes a welcome drink. So food hasn't been huge for us, but we do have a restaurant, and that does about 7%, and then 3% is like private events. So we could do a lot more to improve our restaurant and private event offerings. But it's primarily alcohol sales.
Can I ask him a question?
Yes.
I just, so in Thailand, what ended up happening recently was that they allowed hotels to serve alcohol. Actually, today's a Buddhist holiday, but if you're in Thailand now, you can serve alcohol in a hotel on a Buddhist holiday. And they also allowed restaurant and rooftop bars that are in hotels to be able to operate till 4 a.m. The problem I'm having is, my father owns the hotel that my rooftop bar is at, but I know that I can't drive like a banging type of music, because even though I've worked with AV consultants and things like that, I know that it's gonna be a huge nightmare if I try to keep people later, because I have to keep the crowd, I have to bring up the music, I have to do all of that. So I'm wondering, with noise traveling down the columns and things like that, how, and you lease the space, or
Yes,
okay, so what is your relationship like with the hotel in terms of noise complaints and things like that?
Great question. So that's something that we've definitely had to deal with from the get-go. When we built Skylight, it wasn't like we built it with the hotel. Originally, the hotel was having that as a helicopter pad, and they were going to have kind of like a small kind of rooftop just to accommodate some of the hotel guests. But when we came, we saw a bigger vision. We created another floor, like I mentioned, a 360 sky deck. We have the rooftop side of the bar side, and we have the restaurant. And then we have a pool deck and everything in the back with a little glass skywalk. So, going back to your question in regards to music, right? Luckily, when the hotel was built, they actually have 2 floors as a barrier because they have a big exhibition hall. So it gives us a little bit of kind of it helps us with the noise complaints, but we actually close quite early. We close at 1 o'clock. So our peak times is around 10 to 11, 11:30, and by 12:30 the music is starting to kind of go down a bit. And then by 1 o'clock we close early, primarily because people are trying to go to bed at that time, and it's kind of not conducive to the hotel side. But we have a great relationship with them, so there's times where we have to be more accommodating, but it's tough.
But when I've worked, believe me, I'm like an AV expert. You guys can hire me for AV. I've dealt with all sorts of problems. Isn't noise also airborne when you're not having double, the double, glass? Isn't it go? It doesn't even go down. It's like airborne, and then it's going into the rooms. Do you have that kind of?
Luckily for us at the Havana Hotel, there's only one floor that has like balconies. Other than that, it's enclosed. So unless you have like the window open or whatnot, you're not really going to hear much. So some of our neighbors over at Intercon sometimes don't appreciate it, but we've been fortunate enough to kind of keep it at a minimal level. There's nights where on special occasions we'll definitely ramp it up a bit, but in general we try to be mindful just because it's we want to play nice with the hotel and make sure that we're not providing too much trouble. But it's something that we invested a lot into soundproofing. We also invest into our sound system, where some of this sound will dissipate after a certain amount of meters to minimize some of that sound that will arch over down below.
Yeah, I think it's really important to get an AV if anybody wants to, when you work on these kinds of projects, it almost makes more sense to have more speakers around in various areas than to have the really loud ones that are, because the distribution of high frequency around allows you to hear the music closer, and it means that you don't have to turn it up so loud. So all these things are real huge factors when you're a developer at a hotel, and really makes sense to get an AV consultant on board.
That's a great point for us. All of our speakers are on springs, actually. Our bass.
Same here. We're on springs. So
and it's an even distribution around the venue. So instead of just having like one or two speakers here, you have to play it loud for this person to hear it. We're having, every 2 meters is a speaker, so it doesn't have to be played so loud, but you have a little bit of an even kind of surround.
yeah, it works really well.
And how about still on the hotel relationship? How about the lobby? Does the hotel complain that they don't actually control your guest? Is there any confusion in the entrance of the lobby? Because some of the hotel, especially operator, will say, I don't know them. They go somewhere, there are some security issues.
Luckily for us, we have a great relationship with the Havana Hotel, and our guests kind of make the lobby more lively. I will say there are some nights where there's some guests maybe have had a few too many drinks, but in general, I think we've been able to create a very distinct. When you walk through the front, you can see that the entrance on the left side, there's tons of signs. We have guests that are greeting party goers like right at the front door, so they ask if you're going to the hotel side or if you're going to be going to Skylight. So we haven't had too many issues there. But I think it's just very important to keep it very clear and that people know where they're going so they're not getting lost.
How about Rohit? You work with a lot of hotel operators. You have above 11 different. Is that easy to work with operator brands?
Look, the one thing I've learned and we do franchising, we do asset light licensing and franchising. The one thing I've learned is that we've been really good wherever we've gone. We've been able to successfully implement the standards. You can go and have a ceviche in Bangkok, Dubai, Phnom Penh, and you'll see that the consistency is there because we really implement that experience by design. But the one thing I've learned is when you're going to hand over somebody to be the custodian of your brand, it really makes a huge difference when you've got people on the ground who understand the business. And from that standpoint, I have to say, I'm more comfortable going forward. I've learned a lot. I'm more comfortable franchising in a market like Dubai where there's such good talent. You can get great marketing talent. I mean, my team on the ground there, I can pretty much leave them hands off because they're so good with entertainment, with the programming and things like that. But in other markets, like in Asia, when you leave the brand to the custodian of somebody who doesn't really, in a market where there's not a load of experience and talent, who understand the intricacies of managing, because you get the hardware right, which is the stuff that comes with the franchise, but then you need to get the software right. And the software is the marketing activation. And it's very complicated. Digital marketing is very complicated. Most people in this room are probably struggling in that space. You know, we still feel like we're struggling. So what I've done now is the other 2 deals I've signed in Sri Lanka for above 11 and charcoal, I've signed management deals. I rather sign management deals in less developed markets, and in more developed markets, like we're going in Saudi Arabia, in the Red Sea development, largest luxury development in the world. We're picked out of 17 global brands. And in those markets, Hyatt is going to be representing and could be the custodian of our brand. And Hyatt traditionally is known for their F&B. And in those instances, I really like it because I learn from those brands, right? They're so good on the operating side, on the service standard side, and we get the opportunity to learn from them.
Thank you. We are running out of time, so a single most fast question, starting from TK, expansion plan. Are you doing more? You happy with one? What do you see in the future from that side?
So originally we were looking at expanding to other tourist-driven markets like Da Nang and Phu. However, COVID happened, and then we kind of pumped the brakes on that plan. So right now we're still looking at other opportunities, but it would probably be in one of the tourist markets like Phu and Da Nang.
Ho Chi Minh, would you see?
I think it's really competitive, so I think it's a bit different. Where for us, we want to rely a little bit on the tourists so that you have consistency. For us to be able to last 10 years, I think it's because we're in a tourist market. Where Ho Chi Minh, it's like kind of trendy here and there. So you'll have your moments, but hopefully we can make it happen. So if any of you guys want to make that happen with me, let me know.
Right. What's your expansion plan, and what's your intention on Vietnam?
So we've grown to about 300 people now, and we can't take smaller projects. We've got 80 people in our corporate office. We've grown so fast, 30% every year for the last 2 years. We need to work on projects that are going to move the needle. And that's in the Middle East, where we've set up a company. All of our trademarks are now in Dubai. And we are now, I'm going to Saudi Arabia on Sunday for a huge project that we've been slated for. Actually got 2 guys bidding on each other. So we need to work on projects that are moving the needle. The idea is to create 1 or 2 more brands and go asset light on the restaurant side. But I have an announcement that by the end of this year, we're going to come up with a new hotel brand. So we're going to launch a hotel brand, asset light. It's going to be a lifestyle brand. And the value proposition is you can go to Hyatt, Marriott, and all those guys, but if you come to Soho, I'm going to put 2 amazing restaurants in your hotel, and that's going to drive your total revenue per room. And I'll tell you this. My 2 restaurants are at the Fraser Suites, Sukhumvit in Bangkok. In 2019, I have 25 floors of rooms, and I have 2 floors of F&B. And it's my father's hotel. I made more money top line in 2019 in 2 floors than 25 floors of rooms. So in 6 months, I'm going to come to you guys and say, let's do a hotel together. Now coming to Vietnam, my last point, I'm worried about Thailand. You guys got tariffs of 20%. We got 36%. You have 100 million people in your country. I said this in the other room, in 2075, Thailand's going to lose 25 million of their population because of the aging crisis. It's worse than Japan. We have 65 million people now. We're only going to be left with 40 million people. It's a huge, huge problem. We have consumer debt. Our GDP is at 1.8%. We have a lot of problems. Corporate bonds are defaulting. I feel very confident about the future of Vietnam. I want to be here. I want to open restaurants here, but I want to open it with the right partners. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I would love to keep talking. Everybody here really enjoyed it. Again, we need to keep going. Both of you guys will be around for the dream, for the networking. So any other question you have, find them in the room. TK will be pretty easy to find. He's probably the tallest one. For Roy, just find me 2. We'll be together the whole night. Thank you very much. Nyung.
Yes, and now the team is prepared for the chair, and we will move to the last section of tonight. It's the developer seminars.
I'd like to call the panelists on stage. Felice, I see you there. As soon as you finish the message, please go, Queen.
Ladies and gentlemen, moving to the final part of the seminar tonight, I would like to call on stage our panelists, Ms. Thanh Tục Quyên from Tier Wellness Resort, Mr. Bill Vũ from Silverland, Mr. Richard from Phú Long Group, Mr. Hiếu Độ from Vina Living, Mr. Lauren from Sun Kim Land, and Felicia from Sir Hello. Please welcome on stage. And the moderator is Mauro Gasparotti.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think this is the last panel, so we'll try to keep it smooth and nice, and then all go out for a final drink and networking. I like maybe to start a bit of a round table here to introduce themselves and tell what business are they into. Maybe let's start with Bill. Bill, tell us a little bit more about you and your business.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bill. So I am the director of Silverland Hospitality. We operate mainly in Ho Chi Minh City in District 1. I think maybe some of you are even staying in our hotels because it's a very busy week for Ho Chi Minh City this week. So we do mainly 4-star hotels. We have 7 4-star hotels in District 1 called, the brand is Silverland. And so with that one, we focus on delivering great architecture, great design, great location, and most importantly is excellent service. And then we have our flagship property, which is called the Miss Dong Khoi. So that one, we focus on delivering what we consider, we want to be the ambassador of Saigon culture and really to translate that into a living experience and a hospitality experience. So the hotel's been open for 8 years, and still it's one of the most desired hospitality experience in Ho Chi Minh City.
Thank you, Bill. Richard.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Richard, Deputy CEO of Fulong. Fulong is a property developer, and spend most of my time bringing international investors into our products and also looking for overseas opportunities. So we belong to Savills Group, and Savills is one of the few large conglomerates, private conglomerates in Vietnam. Savills is the owner of Vietjet Air, of HD Bank, Galaxy, and a large number of subsidiary companies also involved in energy, education, healthcare, renewables, advanced technologies. So just in terms of what we do, we are mostly a residential township developer, but we also do commercial and we do hospitality as well. We have about 50 projects on the go at any one time, and that covers about 10,000 hectares of projects that we work on at the moment across the whole country in different sectors, and from affordable housing up to luxury stuff as well. So we cover the whole ambit.
Hi, my name is Hugh. I come from Vina Living. We are a subsidiary of Vina Capital Group. So we are a developer of lifestyle, residential, and hospitality product for sales across Vietnam. We are also the co-investor of the largest platforms who owns the Metropole Hotel in Hanoi and the Grand Ho Tram Strips. And we're also the co-investor of Hoi An, which is the largest casino integrated resort in the central coast of Vietnam.
Hello. My name is Lawrence Pei. I'm the CEO of Sun Kim Land Development. Sun Kim Land, if some of you are aware, we are a property developer. One of our flagship development is the Metropole across the Thu Thiem. Of course, we have quite a few other developments. In terms of hospitality development, we currently have JW Marriott Cam Ranh, which will be soft opening in a couple of months. And we also have an upcoming Seoul hotel in Tinh Thanh. And others in the pipeline, we have quite a few large land banks in very choice location. For those who are in the know, I think word has been around, but of course I'm not at liberty to disclose anymore. Anyway, wonderful to see everybody here. Yeah.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Quinn. I'm currently a director of business development at TL Wellness Resort. It formed from the Fusion Maya Da Nang Resort. It's due to be one of the pioneer of spa inclusive concept in Vietnam. So TL it's redefined the spa luxury spa concept in Vietnam. So it integrate wellness center into for its guests. So it just only provide luxury room, mindless retreat, mindful retreat, but it also focus on the mission to redefine the meaning of mindfulness resort, redefine the meaning of wellness holiday for guests. At Tier Wellness Resort, we not just only check guests in, but we also help them to check themselves in. So that's why we help them to how to know themselves better, how to connect between mind, body, and themselves.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Felice. I'm the director of Sir Halo. We are an interior design company and architect. So quite glad to be still invited here on the developer seminar. So I see everyone's developer and owner. But I think Maura wanted kind of like a little bit different opinion and invited me as a designer as well. So we are specialized on hospitality design. So we are pretty much only focusing on hotels and resorts and everything what is related to that. Working with all kind of like of the big operators, but also with individual hotel groups. So myself, I'm Italian and German, but living in Vietnam for more than 20 years already. And yeah, so very happy to be here tonight.
Thank you everybody. So we got a different mind, different experience, different set of speakers. So I'm going to ask just a brief kind of question to everybody into the business. How was 2025? How has been so far business? Bill, as order, you start to tell us.
So we had a session earlier about the tourism industry in Ho Chi Minh. I think she captured it right on. So what we're seeing is that the volume has definitely come back even stronger in 2019. But what we're not seeing, I think we can probably accredit this to the rising political tensions, that the spending power is actually less than expected. So we're seeing a bit of a divergence between a 4-star and a 5-star line, where the 4-star are doing amazing. We have 90 to 95% occupancy all year round. And that's because we offer something that's quite a good location, that's near the city center. And the price is very much like value for money. Whereas I think the 5-star space and the more luxury space, you have to compete a lot more. More and more, as I'm seeing in this panel, is that we have to push for experience. We have to push for something other than rooms. Because when you go to a 5-star hotel, the expectation is not just what kind of room amenities there are, but what does it say about you as a brand, and as a reflection of who you are.
Thank you, Bin. Richard, tell us, how is business?
Yeah, well, the 2024, the same challenges persist, which is legal bottlenecks and the issues with getting permits, etc., and a lack of confidence in the market, and the same old stuff in terms of land clearance. So 25 has not been a whole lot of different, and in the township, residential township business, things don't move that quickly, except there's more launches. So we've seen a few more launches around, and confidence is a little bit up. And it seems to be the trajectory is in going one way, in a positive way, now with the land law, the real estate law taking effect, and more announcements in terms of law under PPP and railways and a few infrastructure projects being finished. So I think that we have to look at a much longer horizon than year by year. So in real estate, we're probably looking at 5-8 years, and then we'll be able to answer the question much more positively. But as long as we are seeing some positive growth, and we've got a little bit of that.
Thank you. Let's see how he will add on that.
I think I'll have a little bit more positive view on that. I think 25 is the year we've been always waiting for. With a lot of breakthrough. I received the pink book for the 2 products I purchased, which have been waiting for 4 years, only the first 6 months of this year. It's a breakthrough in terms of the transformations of this nation landscape. The province is emerging, the administration system are vastly redefined, lots of infrastructure deployment, and a lot of excitement, because not only the delivery of the product, but the starting points of everyone else. So I think the atmosphere is generally positive for a very new cycle.
Thank you. Whatever you heard about Vietnam is probably true, both the good and the bad. Okay, you must have heard of horror stories. They are all true. If you have heard of a success story, they are also true. Okay, why did I say that? It's a very patchy market in that sense, in my view. We have very successful projects during difficult times, and we have, faced a lot of difficulties. I mean, one case in point is that we are fortunate enough. We launched a product in 15th of December last year, 150 units, not a lot, high luxury product, and we sold out in 2 hours. Okay, at record prices. At that time, the sentiment wasn't great, but it wasn't dead. Okay, in terms of moving forward to 2025, everybody was saying that, oh, that's it, things are moving up. But then came the tariff, everything stopped. So now with a bit of charade going on, things are looking up again in general. But then again, that is the excitement of this market, right? Isn't it? So the last thing I want to share is that yes, there's a lot of good opportunities. As a market, Vietnam is great. And having listened to all the other earlier presentation, we are really spoiled for choice. Many things to look at and explore. Thank you.
As we see under previous sharing from, I think,
STR.
Yes, it's about Da Nang. So in general, Da Nang is going, it's just like a big city, and then put on something on and say to the world, like, I'm ready. And then just go ahead, and then I is going to progressing right now. So, for example, like Wellness Resort, 2025 is a strong year so far for Wellness Resort. Right now, we currently met and assist our number for target based on every month already. So, but there's some certain market we need to face some challenges. But we also see encouragement from growth from emerging market, for example, like CIS region and the Middle East, and demand from wellness center also going, and we still got the remainder for the remainder of 2025. And to compare to 2024, Wellness Resorts is going quite well compared to right now. We go ahead with the visit result compared to in the system of last year already. So because of in some certain market, because of the uncertainty, political and uncertainty, economic swing and political tension. So some traveler may be still waiting, and then they're going to sit on their suitcase and wait for the words to come down. But the good news is the traveler may be cautious, but they're also curious again. So there's one saying that wanderlust they make no way for recession. So we also have the good news and the positive thinking for the rest of 2025.
For us, 2025 has been quite good so far, but I must admit that last year was much busier. So last year we had like really difficulties to keep up with the projects, so a lot of overtime. This year things seems to be a bit more balanced, but still quite good. One thing what I noticed, while in the past we had almost 100% all the projects were like newly built, kind of like from the scratch, that we are seeing much more kind of like renovations and refurbishments. So I think now Vietnam kind of like starting to mature, and kind of like some of the projects are maybe like 10 years old, and so we're getting more requests and more work on that. I see also that more and more kind of like a rebranding is happening, where the international brands come in, and instead of kind of like securing a new project, that they kind of like take over an existing project and then just kind of like do some light renovation, because it was just maybe 2-3 years ago built, and do just kind of like some light changes to adapt to their brand, and so that's what we kind of like seeing more in 2025.
Thank you. I don't know why they squeeze you guys into that. I think you have much more space to be used then. Yeah, I'm going to. Okay, I feel better now. I don't know why, but yeah, maybe with the water. I didn't know first. I just want to grab the water. Okay, good. Thank you. So let me talk to the real estate guys here. So the 3-1 that I see dressed like you guys are into business. Richard, you mentioned that real estate is about 5 to 10 years. So let's look into Ho Chi Minh City. How do you see this city in 10 years? Where the whole market is going? I'm talking about infrastructure, new area, everything. Shall we put the money in Ho Chi Minh City?
Yeah, simple answer. I think yes. If you look at the government's master plan for a vision 2035 to 2040, I think it will spell out there quite clearly the progress of the city, and there's even a 2060 vision out there as well. So there's a number of things that are going on, and put your money where you're in places where you have your strengths. So for us, we're strong in the south of Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon South. So we will continue to push in Saigon South. We will look at the infrastructure, because Ring Road 3 is opening up all these new urban corridors. So there's a huge amount of land to be unlocked in those urban corridors. And also looking at the metro lines. And obviously we said 10 years, so we should be able to get a number of metro lines up there, because they're becoming private now. So we'll look at the TODs, so the transit-oriented developments provide a huge opportunity for both residential and commercial for us.
And what do you think is needed? More commercial, more office, more retail, more luxury? If you need to pick anything, which area it's more needed in Ho Chi Minh City?
No, we're short of everything. We're always short of everything. We never have enough residential, we never have enough hotels, and we never have enough commercial space. We certainly don't have enough ports and logistics and industrial areas to support the growth of the city. So the city is moving in the direction of a mega metropolis, a mega city, supposedly top 50 cities in the world, with its international finance center and all the rest of it coming. So yeah, we need more of everything.
Thank you. Here, give us your story.
Same question, right? Just to make sure we're talking about the new Ho Chi Minh City here. It's all the way to the
your
beach.
Dream Ho Chi Minh City. Let's talk about your dream Ho Chi Minh.
Okay, so in that context, we have to look at Ho Chi Minh City now as the combinations of formerly 3 provinces. Suddenly we have everything. We have the beach, we have the largest port in the south, we have the largest industrial parks area across the nations, and we come very close to a 20 million people populations kind of city. So it's a completely different landscape. And definitely we're talking about multi-core metropolitan model. It cannot be just inside the area that we're sitting right now. But this area is supposed to be the new, which we call international financial centers. And I think there's a lot of activities going to happen between the Ring Road number 3 and 4 in the next 5 years, and that's going to be the focal point. What we observed in the last 5 years is every single unit sold inside the core area, 3 units sold between Ring Road number 2 and 3. I think that's going to be happens between the Ring Road number 3 and 4 as well. The rest, I think Richard hit all the keywords: infrastructures, metro lines, TODs, and scale. Thank you.
And are those happening? You think that the government is putting enough money in infrastructure, in everything, or do you think it's just something that is going to take forever?
Well, I think so. We have never seen such a large deployment of public investment. So in the first 6 months, it's only 33% of the budget, but it's already 60% year-on-year growth. And the city is actually a complete circle. The revenue from the city in the first 6 months, especially from real estate, is actually hit the record high as well. So $1 billion have come back from the developer to the government, and the government used that money to deploy back to the infrastructures stronger than ever. So I think it's a complete ecosystem that actually works in a very strong manner.
Thank you. Please, Lauren.
Okay, I think Richard and Hugh has covered most of everything, which I totally agree. I just have one point to add. I think one observation that I made regarding the Vietnamese market is that this market transits very quickly, meaning that it matures very quickly. Unlike most other developing economy where you have to go through a certain phases. I give an example. Okay, this is perhaps a little bit backdated already. This country was from no phone to the best cell phone. It doesn't have to go through your digital line, analog or whatever. So that's the point. It jumps, it leapfrogs. So that's something that we as developer, business people have to look out for. Just like the other example was the conversion of consumer behavior from web market to supermarket. It happened within a couple of years. People were talking 10 years ago that, oh no, it's so traditional that everybody will go to the web market, nobody will go to the supermarket. But then, bam, within a couple of years, hypermarket and everything else is there. So what I want to share is that we just have to be ready. Do not wait that, oh, it's going to take this stage, this one, it will come this one. No, it will not. It will just hit you. But of course, therein lies a bit of adventure, If you make the wrong bet, sorry guys, thanks.
Lawrence, sorry. Shall I, just to keep on you 1 second, shall I buy an apartment in HCMC? I have already, shall I buy one more?
No, buy a lot more.
Yeah, do you think there is still growth of capital growth to do?
Yes, certainly, but circling back to my first point, you have to be quite careful, okay, not careful, but intelligent about it. There are apartments with good track records, okay? So, go for those.
Give me one example. No, don't need.
All the development under some team are good for you.
And still capital gain to you. Yes, quick, please, if you want. You want to add something on HSBC because you live in Da Nang, correct? So we're going to touch on Da Nang in a moment.
Yes, but I live both.
So do you see the growth of the city?
Yes. Actually, Da Nang is emerging as one of the dynamic destination in Vietnam. So that because the city had urban style, but is effortlessly planned with lush mountain and also grow focus on wellness and MICE tourism. So that to compare Da Nang before, but Da Nang right now is going more fast forward to compare to 10 years before. Da Nang right now is quite like Swiss Hearts of Vietnam summer. For example, like in the summer times, Da Nang have international festival firework, and it's just like KOHLER but for family and the kids. And but the thing is, right, apart from those festivals like Ironman, Marathon, and international firework, Da Nang just only is called like summer season. So Da Nang lacking out some of the year-round identity. For example, like if Da Nang doesn't have like some activity, so they don't have enough power or they don't have enough creativity to create some more festival to attract non-summer guest traffic. And Da Nang need more luxury ecosystem. For example, like need more someone to tell the story of Da Nang identity, because like Phuket, people know that it is some fun and nightlife. Bali is just like spiritual and surfing, but Da Nang people just know as a beach city with local food.
And you, just on that, you own and operate the first fusion resort in Da Nang. What it was a fusion at the time, 10, 15 years ago. You created kind of, you helped the destination a lot to grow. Is that a very different market from 10 years ago to now? It's much more mature than that? Your client base are different than before?
Yes, as right now it's much more mature than that. Right now, most customers coming to Da Nang is not just for relaxation like before compared to 10 ago. Right now, they go into Da Nang, they need more time focus on themselves. They need to put in more themselves to learn about themselves. It's not just about regular relaxation. Though they need more wellness, they need more activity for themselves. For example, like nourishing cuisine, or about breathing activity for them to learn more about and to do with wellness. And the demand for wellness right now is going so fast in Da Nang, in particularly and in Vietnam in general.
Thank you. Felice, add on something. Ho Chi Minh.
Yes, I want to talk more about Ho Chi Minh City. I mentioned before I'm here more than 20 years, and I still love it. I've kind of like seen the kind of like whole development. But since we're kind of like designing hotels, I want to more talk about kind of like the tourist point of view of Ho Chi Minh City and the attraction. So before in the previous kind of like talks, we were hearing that Ho Chi Minh City is doing pretty good, pretty good numbers. Rohit was mentioning that Thailand is at the moment losing a lot to Vietnam, which is good for Vietnam, and I hope it continues also like this. But I'm a little afraid that Saigon needs to kind of like do much more than it's doing now to kind of like sustain with that and to keep up. At the moment, I think people come the first time and it's exciting and so on, but we have to be honest, there's not so many things to do for a tourist. I mean, when you kind of like compare it to Bangkok, there are kind of like so many attractions, so many kind of like reasons for people to come and especially to come back. And Saigon is really lacking on that. So we not really have proper night markets. There's not really big events or concerts happening where people fly in. Also kind of like simple things, kind of like wandering through the city. At one point, I think they started up cleaning the sidewalks, but then didn't really work. So we need to be careful. I mean, there are kind of like cities in the region which are not very touristically appealing. I mean, like for example, Manila and Jakarta are just kind of like huge cities, but nobody wants to come there for leisure. But places like Bangkok, for example, they have very high visitor numbers because people come and keep coming back. And so Saigon, I think, has to kind of like step up and kind of like create kind of like new attractions and have like more favorable conditions. I think we also need more new hotels. There haven't been many new hotels happening lately to kind of like cater for that growth.
So Bill, what are you going to do about all this problem? Tell us. Are you bringing more hotel or are you converting more F&B? What's your solution?
Definitely. So there's two parts, right? We want to be able to maximize the real estate we already have, and to the point that I made before about, rooms, hotels and more than just rooms these days. So you need to have a proper F&B, like you need to have a good spa. And actually, one of the most competitive offering that we have right now is that we offer free airport pickup to our customers, and they really like that because you know how busy and how tired you must be after spending 2 hours in immigration. And so to have somebody come pick you up where you don't have to worry about anything else is fantastic. And in terms of the city growing, I really see it growing more towards District 2, District 9, and Longkat. And so we have a lot of, if you don't mind, I kind of have a question to ask. Like, how do you guys, as real estate developers, feel about Longkat? It's the master plan is out. It's going to be a huge development, but we still kind of don't know how long it will take and stuff like that. If I were a real estate investor, I think I'm looking to invest more in that side of the city for sure. Because that's where it feels like that's where all the infrastructure is heading and where all the residential is heading.
Maybe all the way to Ho Chi Minh. Here, take on everything that he just said.
This question or?
Everything. Just tell us that shall I buy an apartment here or with you guys by the beach? And there would be infrastructure to get there?
Yeah, so I think something exciting is happening aside from the airport. And I was on the positive side, I truly believe that 2026 it's going to open. So to answer your question. For tram, this is something special. It's only account for 1% of the total length of the beach in Vietnam, but it has the catchment area of the 30% of the population in the nation. You don't have the competition in the north is Phan Thiet, but on the south, it's all the way to Phu Quoc. So everybody from the Mekong Delta has no other choice to go to the beach. Before we share this little road clogged with container trucks called National 51, from next year onward, there are 4 major highways that connect across the catchment areas to Ho Chi Minh. So that's exciting. And then the second thing is probably we have the catchment area for 30% of the international arrival to Vietnam too, if the international airport goes as planned. So that didn't happen in the past. And I totally agree. Infrastructure development directions are all the way toward the east and the southeast of the city to the sea. No surprise about that. There's logistics, there's industrial hubs. Where the jobs are, there will be populations increase. It's very simple.
Your latest project that you guys just launched, people will buy to use, or is more an investment kind of investment?
Very much blended. So people bet both ways, and myself too. We have to transform the products. So the new class of products we put out is not a hotel or it's not purely hospitality. It's a branded service residence kind of project, serving both purpose of a second home and or short-term stay products. It's a challenge, but it's a very exciting challenge. And based on the tracking of the booking so far, I think we are hitting the right demand there.
Thank you. Just staying to that, I'd like to ask maybe Richard a question on you guys are moving into Condotel. I saw you signing something somewhere onto the hotel, but and maybe you can share it with us. But my question for you would be into what Felice mentioned, that we need more in Ho Chi Minh City. Do you think ultra luxury will work if we just completely change the spectrum? And later, Lawrence, you will answer that as well.
Yeah, I think in a simple answer, yes. At the panel we have like 5,500 individuals with $10 million plus, according to Forbes, in this country. They're all got to live somewhere. We are the fastest growing rate of millionaires in Asia. So there's obviously a bit of money around for ultra luxury living. So we've started to develop these low-rise developments and these high-rise developments that they're not the ultra luxury yet, because ultra luxury needs locations, it needs the amenities, the management, maybe even the branding. It needs the landscaping, needs a lot of stuff, and we're pretty okay with the brands. We can find the brands, and we can get operations from service providers, and but we don't necessarily have all the other parts at the moment to satisfy the ultra high net worth luxury projects. So what we've done, rather than just go with the buying the brand, we've invested in reached agreement with the brands to do the operation. So the one you're referring to is World Hotels, and it was mentioned on the screen a little bit earlier under the name Best Western, but World Hotels is the brand that we use to manage our low-rise developments. But remember, we also in hospitality, so we have the Farana brand as well. So just getting back to Da Nang, we can blur the lines between our hospitality business and our residential business in terms of we use a hotel like the incubator for wellness, for F&B, and other types of services. We can develop them in the hotels, and then we can bring them into our residential projects. So, for example, in this new project called Essentia Parkway, it's just 75 units, but we bring in the wellness, and we, through the onsen clubhouse facility, and we use the F&B that we developed in the hotels and bring that into the area as well. And many of the services, operational services, we can bring into the residential and create that standard.
Thank you, Lawrence. Ultra luxury, tell us, are you guys getting even one step higher into your offering, and is Ho Chi Minh ready for that?
Okay, as far as Sunkim Group is concerned, we have actually moved from the high end, and for our project in District 9, that is still high end, but for those in the correct locations, we have moved into the ultra, and we will continue to focus on that. There is indeed demand, strong demand for that segment. Okay, I'm happy to share, and I think what Richard pointed out is also very correct. There are a lot of well-hit individuals in Ho Chi Minh City. Okay, more than you and I can imagine. Okay, so there's money to be made there. Yeah, but I think one last thing I just want to share is that, of course, the landscape is pretty wide and open. For developers, I suppose the challenge is that we need to know what we are after, which market segment that we are focusing, and be very specific in those. It is quite easy to be distracted, really. Sometimes differentiation between high-end, upper high-end, luxury, ultra-luxury, can get a bit blurred. Okay, I mean, pricing aside. So that is something that has to be very sharp within the development team and within the company. So you can give it a really focused push. Thank you.
Thank you everybody. We've got 2 or 3 minutes left. I think people want already have a drink, so I'm going actually to finish here the session, because hopefully you guys will stay here a long time, so anybody with a question can find you in the room. We've heard all the noise of there, people already drinking, so thank you very much to our panel, and stay here. Move to the ballroom, don't get stuck somewhere. Please help me out with the logistic. We all move to the ballroom after this. Thank you very much. On the next door.